All right, today, guys, we're talking about hypnosis and what it feels like to be hypnotized, what it feels like to be under the hypnosis, that sort of stuff. This is very exciting. So let's first talk about why people may not want to get hypnotized. Well, we're still waiting for people to get online here. Let's just talk about maybe why you won't get hypnotized. So a lot of people don't want to get hypnotized because of misconceptions. Right? There are many misconceptions and myths surrounding hypnosis, like a lot. And so, that's because they're perpetuated by media and by the entertainment industry, such as, hypnosis stage shows and stuff like that. So if you saw those types of events, yes, you're seeing real hypnotism. You're seeing it in its luster, but that's not all it does. That's just a stage show. That's what you're seeing on TV. That's an example of. What we do here for rapid transformational therapy is much different than the stage show that you're going to watch. This is therapy. Therefore, what you're going through is a therapeutic event. It's not a quick change you into a chicken kind of event. So there is a huge difference. Hey, Pete, nice to join me. Thank you for joining. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask everybody who's now joining in. I see a bunch of names starting to roll up here, guys. So if anybody has any questions, we're talking about what it feels like to be hypnotized. If you guys want to know anything about hypnosis, today's the day to ask. Today is the day. So we're going to talk about the misconceptions, of course, which there's a lot in the public eye. So you might feel fear of losing control or being manipulated and stuff like that. And sure, that can happen on stage. Absolutely. We do see some people on stage who get kicked off stage before the show even starts. Those are people who, it's not that they can't get hypnotized. It says it's going to take them a little bit longer to get hypnotized. Those who are on stage are there because the hypnotist knows that they're going to be an easy prey. And that's why they're there. And so also the people on stage, you can guarantee that there's a percentage of them that are faking it or not being real. And there is a percentage that are real. How do you know the difference? You won't. I generally say, how do you know the difference is when they get off stage. How you're going to know the difference is because literally on the planet, there are only less than 10% of the humanity who won't remember what happens under hypnosis. Less than. And if that's that person, you will see when they get hypnotized, they go straight down, out and under. You will hear them snoring. You will see some stuff. It's not like what you see on the stage. It's very rarely what you see on that stage. And so when somebody gets off that stage and says, oh, I don't remember what happened, generally they're lying to you, except for the 10% who really can't remember. But for the most part, that person probably went up and acted like a fool on purpose because that was their will. That's what they wanted to do. And they were faking it.
Sitting at home and she thought, are you well?
Because they remember. You remember what happens under hypnosis. You remember, unless you're put completely deep under from a psychotherapist who then erases the memories, who's taking stuff out, different ballgame. But you will remember what it's like when I hypnotize you, or if you're at a stage show, you're going to remember. Okay, so the second one is the lack of understanding why people are running from hypnosis. So many individuals don't fully understand what hypnosis is or how it works. And this is a lack of understanding because they're skeptics. And you know what? I was that gal. I was her. Listen, 5 years ago, before I found hypnosis, I used to think that if I put on one of those hypnosis albums from the Jake Ducey, Jake Ducey Hypnosis, he does that. And I wanted to get his stuff, and I kept putting it off because I thought, if I get his hypnosis audio, he's going to probably in that audio tell me to spend all my money buying his stuff and all of that stuff, because I remembered back in the day the hypnosis that they were using in the movie theaters at the drive-ins, where they would, that video that went up just before you went to buy your the movie started, I guess. They would put up a video with hot dogs dancing and French fries dancing and all of that stuff back in the day. If you're old enough, you'll remember this. Those videos were subliminal messaging, which is also a form of hypnosis. If you're listening to it all the time, watching it all the time, it's subliminal messaging. It's posting images up on screen that makes you want to go eat something. If they do that on a regular basis, this will become your habit. That makes it hypnosis. And so I understand why people might have a lack of trust, but really educate yourself onto what it is. So what we're doing with hypnosis is we're just unlocking your mind. At least that's what we're doing with rapid transformational therapy. We're unlocking your mind to allow you to find the root cause of the issue that's holding you back. That's it. We're not going in there to change anything. We are going there to liven you up, to rid you of whatever it is that's holding you back, to go and help to understand it, to reframe it, and then moving you forward towards your goals. So it's a bit different. Also, people think that they're going to be very vulnerable under hypnosis. Well, okay, because it involves being in a heightened sense of suggestibility and relaxation. Yes, people think that they are vulnerable. That's why you choose someone who you trust. Find someone who makes you feel comfortable when you're going into a session with them, so that you don't have that experience. Make sure that they're qualified. Make sure that they're a licensed therapist. In my case, we're licensed rapid transformational therapists, hypnotists, stage hypnotists. Don't go to them for anything real. They're there for stage. You can go to them to quit smoking if you want. That's fine. Stage hypnotists can help you with quit smoking. But if you have a root cause to your issue, don't go to a stage hypnotist. They're not going to help you. You'll be wasting your time and your money. What they'll do is they'll change you temporarily. So a few hours, a few days. And then your brain, when you hit that first road bump, will go back to your old habits instantly because you never changed the root cause. That's why you want to see a rapid transformational therapist. So technically, you're not actually going to lose control. You don't. You don't lose control. In fact, you're always in control. When you're under rapid transformational therapy, you're actually always in control. So at any time, you can will yourself to open your eyes and come out of hypnosis. You just have to will yourself out of it. And in fact, if the audio, like we do everything over Zoom. So if ever you're on with me and let's say Wi-Fi drops, you will literally come out of hypnosis all by yourself. You'll either fall into a deep sleep, and just wake up later on a few hours down the road, or you will literally just open your eyes once the catalyst for your hypnosis is no longer in the picture. Then you just come out of the hypnosis. So you're not stuck in it. And even during hypnosis, if you don't like what's happening, you can pull yourself out of it. You can will yourself out of it. You are not stuck. You are actually 100% in control at all times. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'm seeing a bunch more names growing up, so I'm really happy that we've got a bunch of people. Hey, Cheyenne, thanks for making a comment. Now, everybody, you're not going to lose control under hypnosis. Now, everything that happens under hypnosis is exactly what's meant to happen for you. You can't be turned into something you aren't. Now, that being said, I can't make you give me all the money in your bank account. I can't do that unless that's who you are. If you're that person who wants to give people everything they have, then yes, I can make you do that. If you aren't, I can't. I can't turn you into a murderer. I can't do any of those things. Literally, hypnosis is literally so that you can go back and look at what went wrong, understand it, reframe it, transform it, and move forward. That's what we're doing with rapid transformational therapy. So people are worried about, revisiting their past negative experiences. And I understand that it can be scary. And some hypnosis it is very, very scary. I know when I went into just a regular hypnotherapist, all right, they had me revisit my past. You're right. And those negative experiences actually hung around because that person in hypnotherapy, typical hypnotherapist, they do not get to the root cause of your issue that first day. What they do instead is they'll go and find the problem, or maybe they might get to the root cause, but they're not going to transform it that day. So in fact, you end up you're at the peak of the chaos in your brain when they end the session. That's freaking silly if you ask me. They shouldn't do that ever, because when you do that, you're letting that person sit in that trauma until the next time they come to see you. Okay, they are retarding the process. They're slowing it down. They're slowing it down from what it should be, because what's happening is that you're going to take extra time. You're going to take a month to transform the problems that you that you found in your hypnosis session. That's what's with a regular hypnotherapist. What rapid transformational therapy does differently is that we're reframing and transforming all in the same session. That's why when you go to a hypnotist, you're there for maybe 15 minutes under hypnosis. You go to a hypnotherapist, you're maybe a half an hour under hypnosis. You come to an RTT therapist, you're under hypnosis for up to 3 hours as we work through all the issues and figure it all out. And if you guys watch a video that I posted today, it was from a client yesterday who was under hypnosis, and I just run through it quickly so you can see what it's like to get hypnotized, and it'll show you in that video what it's like to get hypnotized, and that's what he did. And you can see that at the very end, I obviously didn't play the part where we're talking about his issues, or I didn't show you that part of the recording. I'm not going to do that. That's not legit to be doing that to people. But What I did is I just show you how he reacted, how he couldn't open his eyes, and what he felt at the very end of that hypnosis session. And he felt amazing, guys. He felt amazing. So when you are revisiting those negative experiences, also the difference between rapid transformational therapy and all other therapies combined, really, is that during the hypnosis session, that's the only time we actually talk to you about your issues, about your past. That's the only time we ever go visit that past, is in those 3 hours that we are working on the issue. Once we've left that session, that issue, the plant has been removed and we've planted a new seed, so there's nothing to talk about anymore. So in the weeks to come, when we are in therapy together, we aren't talking about your past anymore. We're now talking about where you want to go, where your future is going to be. That's what makes this so awesome compared to every other therapy out there, because you're not sitting there reliving your crap week after week, month after month, year after year. That's not what you're doing with us. You actually come in, relive it once, fix the issue, move forward. That's what we do. And that's why this is therapy on steroids. It's freaking incredible. Also, guys, there's, cultural and religious beliefs cause problems. And yes, of course, I hear that a lot from very religious people. And P.S., I walk with God, guys. I walk with Jesus Christ Superstar. And I do just fine. In fact, for any religious person out there who tells me God doesn't want you to do this, I call bullshit on you. And here's why. Because 4 years ago, nearly 4 years ago, I literally was in a hospital bed and died. I had died and I had gone to the other side. And when I went to that other side, I spoke with Jesus or God, whichever one it was. I didn't see the face. I just heard what he wanted me to hear. I was sitting with my mom on a cloud, true story, sitting with my dead mom on a cloud as I passed away in a hospital bed. And Jesus told me, or God told me, the answers are going to be there for you when you get back, Christine. Go back. I went back. When I opened my computer, guess what answers were there? Rapid transformational therapy. Literally. That's the first thing when I opened my computer, that's the first thing I saw. That's the very first thing I saw. And so God sent me to hypnosis. So for all of you guys out there who want to say God doesn't believe in this, bull. That's the man-made version of your Bible right there that you're talking about, the one that they don't want you to go towards what's going to save you and help you. They want you to stay a victim. They want you to stay one of their slaves. And so that's why that tells you not to do that. But that's not true. God himself told me about rapid transformational therapy to save my life. And in doing so is now helping me to save other people's lives. And if you think I do this alone, you are very wrong. Before every single session, I talk to God, and God is with me in each and every session, here to give its power to you guys and to help you all. So if you don't believe in God, that's cool beans. You don't have to believe in God to get hypnosis, but you have to know that he is working with me on this to help you guys. And that's who I walk with. I walk with God every day to get this done, to help people to grow into their best versions, because it's not me. I don't have the powers. I don't have any of the powers. All I do is let them work through me. And that's what I do. And that's how I'm able to help people, because God brought me to this answer. So you don't have to believe it. You don't. You just have to experience hypnosis for yourself, and maybe you'll be able to see the other side too. You'll be able to see where there is that hope and where maybe God lies in your life, because he's out there, guys. But we're not talking about religion here today, so that's neither here nor there. Those cultural beliefs do hold us back, and a lot of that is literally that they don't want you to become your best version. And so you'll look at what's going on in this society right now. If you look at some of the stuff that they're telling you not to do, or telling you to do, it's wrong. Everything is wrong. It's the complete opposite of what is real. So understand that, and then just take a leap, because this actually works. This is not somebody controlling you. Hypnosis, that's not somebody controlling you. What it is very literally someone who is helping you to unlock a door so that you can go in and see what's going on in your own life and fix it. That's what we're doing. That's it. And if God didn't want you to fix it, why would he give you that option? The next thing is the fear of the unknown. Everybody fears unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how we're going to respond to the hypnosis. All of these fears happen. And again, that's where we say, make sure you're with someone you trust. Just make sure that the therapist you're working with, that you trust them immensely, and that working with them is good for you. Okay? And then there's that stigma. Can there be a social stigma associated with the mental health work that we do? Absolutely there is, right? Because a lot of people think that, first of all, it's an alternative therapy, so how can it be real? But by the way, alternative therapies worked for thousands of years until big pharma came in, and suddenly now we're a conspiracy theory. So to big pharma, and yeah, this is not a conspiracy theory, guys. This stuff works. And there's a reason why they're trying to get you not to use it so that you can rely on their pharmacy. And I promise you it works, because I was relying on their pharmacy before I even used hypnosis. I was on 15 plus different medications. Now I am on one medicine. That's it. And that one's just a life-saving medicine. I have no choice to take but to take that one or I die. But you know what? Off of 14. I went off of 14 after the hypnosis because I'm not supposed to be on those drugs. Nobody is. But that's what Big Pharma wants from you, and that's why they're trying to give you that stigma of using the alternative medicine. It's just hoopla. It's boohickey. It's whatever they want to call it. But it's not, guys. It actually works. This is crazy how well this works. And so understand that a lot of the propaganda surrounding hypnosis is putting a fear in you so that you don't become your best self. That's really what it is. And then there's concerns about control over your actions. Okay, I get that. I get that, because under hypnosis, you think you're not going to have control over your body, but in fact you do. So when we put you under hypnosis, the only thing you don't have control over are your eyes. We lock your eyes closed tight. And again, you'll see that in the video I posted today with our friend on the video. You'll see him there, and his eyes, he giggles. He giggles when he can't open his eyes, because when I was telling him about it earlier, he was basically calling hogwash on it, telling me that wasn't going to be true, wasn't going to happen to him. How can I lock his eyes closed? I locked his eyes closed. So that's what it is. You're not going to lose control over your body, because you're fully in control of every part of your body still afterwards. The only time you kind of lose control is when you're getting the ab reactions. And now ab reactions are yawning, stretching, jerking. The body's jerking, or you'll get cold throughout your body or heat throughout your body. Those are ab reactions. You can't control those, because what's happening is your body is releasing the toxicity that you've held inside. So when that starts to happen during hypnosis, it's a freaking good thing. It's a really good thing, because you are letting go and healing in that moment when these things happen. So we ask you not to control it. We ask you to let it happen, and then it'll eventually go away as your body releases all that toxic energy. Usually by the time we're done our session, by the time I'm done the transformation and moving into the end 15, 20 minutes of the session, those ab reactions are all gone already, because you've transformed. You've already left it. In other words, you've pulled the toxic plant out at its roots, and now you get to replant a new seed in its place. That's what it is. So to be concerned about your actions, no, you're not going to lose control over anything. You are fully in control of your body at all times. And of course, there's that natural skepticism. So that's a natural response that all of us are facing. Guys, if you're with somebody who's properly trained, right? And again, you have somebody who's ethical. So research the people you're working with, make sure that they're right, make sure that you like their personality, have a talk with them beforehand. I talked with my clients up to 3 hours before we'll even join as a team to start working together. I will talk to them as long as they need to try, so that they can understand exactly what the process is, and we can get past all of their fears and whatever else. Find somebody who's going to do that with you, who's going to really give you the answers and sit and talk to you and be with you, to help you alleviate those fears, because that's very important that you're with the right person. When they don't want to do stuff like that, if they're not going to do follow-up care after that hypnosis session, walk away. Walk away. Here's why I say that. Because hypnosis is no joke, okay? Once you change something in your brain, you actually need to be working with someone for another 30 days after that hypnosis session. You either have to have a powerful audio that you're going to be listening to that they created for you during your hypnosis session, that audio, or you have to be, I would say you need the audio to reiterate everything on a loop for your brain, which you listen to every day for 21 days to form the habit that you now just changed. So basically that audio is the water. It's the water that you're going to be feeding to the seed that you just planted so that that plant can grow. That's what the audio is. It's the water. That's why you want to listen to it, right? And so when you're listening to that audio over the 21 days, your seed grows, your new life transforms and starts to take hold. And that's part of it, okay? Yep. Okay, so guys, most hypnosis, at least the ones we're doing here, it's an effective therapeutic tool. Stage hypnosis, not so much. But if you're going to a hypnotherapist, a psychotherapist, or a rapid transformational therapist, yes, these are tools that we're using hypnosis to help people reduce stress, to change habits, to address certain mental health conditions, educate and consult with your professional before you even get in there to make sure that they know how to alleviate your fears and that they can provide a better understanding for the hypnosis and what it entails for you, okay? But understand that with rapid transformational therapy, especially here at my company, I am a specialist. I actually did extended education in anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress, or complex post-traumatic stress and complex anxiety and stuff like that. So guys, I am very well trained. I am very much what you would call a specialist. So the hypnotherapist that you go to, that generally will be, and a lot of rapid transformational therapists too, a lot of them are general practitioners. So it would be like just going to your family doctor. You go there for, a little bit of everything, but you don't go there for anything serious. You'd never go to a family doctor for heart disease, would you? No, they would send you to the specialist, or for bowel disease or whatever. They're going to send you to a specialist. You go to that specialist and you talk to them. I'm the specialist of your mind. That's what we do here. I specialize with anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress, self-doubt, all of self-hate. I specialize with that. So if you're looking for someone who understands you and who can really help you get out of here, I'm your gal. Or at least find somebody who does specialize in these things for you. Otherwise, again, you're just seeing the general practitioner. And yeah, they might be able to help, but they don't know all the ins and outs of dealing with someone with your specific issues. So they might just do a half-assed job. So be very careful. And again, just make sure you research the people that you're working with and make sure that they're going to give you what you want. So what is hypnosis? Okay, hypnosis is a state of focused attention. It's deep relaxation. It's heightened suggestibility. When a client undergoes hypnosis to address any of their issues, to remove fear, anxiety, depression, anything like that, they experience typically feelings and sensations that start to happen. Okay, so what's going to first happen once you get put under hypnosis is that you start to feel deeply relaxed. You go into a sense of relaxation. And that's what we're saying. As we count you down, we're doing a countdown, we're bringing you to your countdown, we're telling your body exactly how it feels, how it's relaxed, it's going towards all the answers, it understands. And then we're trying to describe a state of calmness and tranquility for you, so that's where you can be. And you'll hear that in some of my audios when I give free audios. There's a bunch of free audios I give. If you go to the front end of those free audios, you're going to hear me saying stuff like that, where we do the countdown, we start to relax your mind and body, and then we bring you into the meditative audio slowly, right? Because we want to relax your mind so that it allows itself to pick up on the new intention. Now, that being said, when you're under hypnosis, you're literally going to sleep. Not literally, I guess, but your conscious mind is going to sleep. It's not in function anymore. It's sleeping. And so it's your subconscious mind that's still awake. And that's what we will be talking to under the hypnosis. So that relaxed feeling is your conscious mind taking a nap at that point. And it's going to give you an increased focus. And you're like, how can I be focused if I'm freaking under? Well, this is simple pimple, guys. All right. Your increased focus happens here because you become highly concentrated under the hypnosis, right? And you're listening to the therapeutic suggestions that we're giving you. And when you're doing that, your brain is hearing every single word in it's in stereo in your ears, that it's hearing this, it's picking it up. And what happens then is your focus goes straight to your issue. It's going to automatically, because it's your subconscious mind we're talking to, we're asking it questions, it's going to go automatically to the answer of those questions. That's what it's going to do. Your brain's going to go there for you. You don't have to work at it. It's just going to happen. And it's going to start bringing stuff up that you don't even remember happened. You don't remember. More often than not, we block out the stuff that's traumatized us. And in hypnosis, that's when you can go back to that spot that you blocked out and you can you can figure it out, you can reframe it, you can change your whole life that way. And so that's what we're doing. That's the increased focus that you're getting. This focus state allows your mind to bypass the critical thinking part, the analytical part of your brain, and it's going to help you access that subconscious mind. That's why we put your conscious mind to sleep, because that's the liar. That's the part that protects you, that's going to try to hide from the truth, that's going to not let you get to the root cause. That's the part that slows you down in therapy. In talk therapy, when you go to talk therapy, that's why it takes a year, 2 years, 5 years for talk therapy to work, for you to get your aha moments. That's why. Because you're talking to the conscious mind. The conscious mind's a freaking liar, and the conscious mind's trying to protect you, so it's going to lie. It's going to send you in the wrong direction just so that it can protect its own habits and behaviors, because it doesn't want to change. It just doesn't want to change. You may want to change, but your habits and behaviors, they don't want to go anywhere, right? And so that's why it becomes more focused. And this helps you to go where the deep-seated fears are being held and where those beliefs reside. And it helps you to change them, right? And so it's going to give you heightened awareness. So not only are you hyper-focused, but you're hyper-aware also. And I know it sounds so weird because you're under hypnosis. How can I be aware? I'm not, you've told me I can't hear anything around me and do anything around me, but you are incredibly hyper-aware. Now, what we're talking about is you're going to experience hyper-awareness of your inner thoughts, of you. You become aware of what's going on in here, hyper aware. And no answer gets hidden from you at this point. They all come to the surface. You are going to go to your inner thoughts, your feelings, your memories. You're going to find them. You're going to figure it out, and you're going to let them out. This heightened introspection can help you to better understand the root cause of your fears, your anxiety, your depression, your PTSD, whatever is going on. And it's going to help you to transform it. But because you have that hyper awareness, you get to go and see every detail, even the details you didn't think you had. So example, we just brought a client backwards, go back to an issue in their past, and they remembered what they brought up with is that somebody was arguing and they couldn't figure out why they were arguing, but they knew it was something they did. And they knew what feelings they were feeling, but they didn't know why. And so on the count of 3, 2, 1, we opened up their brain, and now suddenly they could hear everything. Now suddenly they heard every word that was being said in their presence, and it changed everything for them because now they knew. So they were able to talk to the parent. In this case, it was a parent. Both parents, they were able to talk to the parents under hypnosis and figure out what's going on. They got to open it up. 3, 2, 1. We hear all the words. You now suddenly hear everything that's going on, right? And so they were able to reiterate to me absolutely everything in that conversation. And P.S., one of our clients was actually in the womb, still a baby in the body, in the womb of their mother, when there was shouting going on. And they were able to tell me exactly what that conversation was. And the parents didn't want to have that baby for fear of financial distress and that sort of stuff. And that caused this baby to feel like they weren't enough, that they were a nuisance and all of this stuff for the rest of their lives. Because while they were still in the womb, before they were even born, they heard every word their parents said. And they were able to tell me every word their parents said under hypnosis. So for those parents out there, who are people out there who think your children don't know what's happening because they're so young, they're sleeping, they're in bed, they're in the womb, you're wrong. That child knows exactly what you're doing. In fact, I cringed the other day. I watched a TikTok video where a man was holding his baby and he was yelling at his baby about something. It was for the video, and he was yelling at the baby that it got in his way and it was doing all of this stuff. And I thought, oh my God, that little baby that he just did that to is now going to need therapy in about 18 years because he did that to that baby. That baby had no clue why it was being yelled at. You can see the confusion in its face. And now you know that that baby in that moment determined it wasn't enough. It was a bad baby because it was being yelled at. I promise you that baby's going to need therapy in the future. They hear everything in the womb, out of the womb. They're hearing it. They know it. We know it. We know it all. Okay, it's going to give you heightened suggestibility as well. Hypnosis enhances a person's suggestibility immensely. You're already suggestible, by the way, for first 15 minutes of your day, last 15 minutes of your day before you go to bed. You're incredibly suggestible. You're actually under hypnosis. The first 10 years of your life, you're under hypnosis. You are completely, absolutely 100% suggestible. So for those of you who think you aren't, again, I call bullshit on that one, because everybody is suggestible. You are being hypnotized every single day. If you watch TV, if you watch movies, you are being hypnotized daily, on a daily basis. If you go to school, you are being hypnotized on a daily basis. Understand that. You are suggestible. Now it's just about letting it in. And the hypnosis can use, or the hypnotist, me, they can use that suggestible state to help the client to reframe their thoughts and to balance out the fear that they're feeling inside, so they get to address all of that. And that's why you want to kind of get out of that conscious mind and go into the subconscious mind, so that you can deal with those thoughts, all that negativity, all of that stuff. You're going to end up getting a great emotional release when you do that, because you get to experience, the surface being opened, being released at this point. You're processing any of that repressed emotions that you have, anything that's been toxic to you, that's all being processed, and you're reframing it all. The healthy part of the therapeutic process actually allows you to confront and heal from the past traumas and those negative experiences. And so that's why you want to use it, is because you can go back and heal that day. It's not, something you got to work on and work over, a couple of weeks as you work through your emotions. No. You're doing it all today, right now in the session. You're doing it all there. And so this is very empowering for anybody who's had to go for any therapy ever, because it takes forever through any therapy. Well, when you get to go and find the root cause, you go to your aha moment that same day, you get to understand and reframe the issue, and then you get to transform it. When you get to do all that, when you get to go and heal the pain that's going on in your body same day, that leads to empowerment. You feel like you've just taken back control of your entire life, because, well, technically you have, right? And so it leads to a positive transformation. And that's the ultimate goal of all hypnotherapists or rapid transformational therapists or hypnotists or anything. We want to transform you, right? And so you get to find the you that you want to become. And it rewires that subconscious mind to respond to a fear, and it then triggers a healthier and more productive response from you. So again, we had a client recently who came in, and their basic response is anxiety and fear for everything. They were basically stuck into place. And the hypnosis itself was what allowed them to have a good night's sleep finally, right? Because they were finally able to let go of their overthinking. They didn't overthink that night. They went to bed, they went to sleep, down like a light, because you let it go, you release it. And it's important to note that not everybody will experience hypnosis in the same way, okay? Some individuals respond differently than others. Some can't get under hypnosis easily, and it takes a little bit longer to get them under hypnosis. Some will snore during the entire hypnosis session because they're really deep. They're in that, they're in that theta. They're gone, guys. But when they're gone, they're still responding. They're still responding. They're still there. And the effectiveness of hypnotherapy, especially for fear removal or anxiety, it depends on the client's willingness to participate. And well, of course, the skill of the hypnotherapist matters too. That's why I say you don't want to go to a general practitioner if you've got some real big issues. You want to go to someone like me who specializes in those issues, because the therapist does matter. What words they use does matter. If they don't use the right words, they can kind of mess up your brain. So you want to go to the right person, or they may not get to the root cause, the root issue of your traumas, which a lot of therapists, if they're not well trained, if they're new to the industry, if they're not specialists in specific issues, they tend to not have an idea of how this actually works. I still come across therapists who are shocked that clients get nightmares after hypnosis. They don't know that. And why don't they know that? Well, because they don't do follow-up care with their clients at all. They do the session and then they never see that person again unless they come back for more. And so they actually don't know the trauma that they caused in that person's brain. They don't know the transformation. They don't know anything. I know because I hang out with my clients. We spend months together. We spend at least 3 months with each other because we have people coming in with deep-seated issues, and it takes a little minute to fix those issues. So 3 months together. But because I spend that time with them, I'm there to help them. Because after hypnosis, what happens is this, guys. So directly after your hypnosis session, you're feeling relaxed during that hypnosis session. You're feeling brilliant. You're feeling amazing. You've gone through your issues. You've fixed your issues. What happens directly after that session, though, is your brain starts running with the new story. It starts running with it until 2, 3, sometimes 4 days in, maybe even 5. Your brain hits that wall and goes, but I liked it over there. Who was I over there? That's where I want to be, because I know if I take 5 more steps forward, I'm going to die off. And that's the fear talking, the fear and the anxiety. It's saying, oh, I can't keep going forward, because if I keep going forward, I'm going to die off. So I have to go backwards. So at day 3 to 5, it starts to drag you backwards, because it doesn't want the change that's coming forward, right? It doesn't want you to leave it. It wants to stay unhealthy, because your brain loves what's familiar. And clearly what's been familiar to you is the anxiety, the depression, the PTSD, whatever it is that you're coming in for, the fear, the doubt. All of that stuff is what's normal for you. And so your brain thinks that's what you want, because that's what you've been giving it all these years. So it tries to bring you back to that. And that's why you have to work with me or your therapist directly after your sessions. It's not just that one session and you're done. No, 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 no. You know, I see my clients every week after that session so that I can help them to move forward, so that they can let go of all of that stuff that's been hanging on to them. Okay. And when people describe that feeling of hypnosis, by the way, let's talk about that for a second. What does it feel like to be in an altered state? This is different for everyone. Different for absolutely everyone. For me, my first time, all I saw was black. I closed my eyes and all I saw was black. And it was weird. It was just, I kept thinking, when is this going to start? You know, until she tried to get me to open my eyes, and I couldn't open my eyes. They were locked closed tight. Couldn't open them, right? That's how I knew I was hypnotized, because I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't do the stuff she was asking me to do. Yeah, I knew then. But I still didn't get on that first time, because I suffered high anxiety when I first started the hypnosis, and I couldn't get visuals. I couldn't. So when she said, oh, tell me the scene in your mind right now, I'm like, there's no freaking scene. What are you talking about? There's no scene. Then she did it again, and suddenly I started to feel emotions. I started to get memories, but there was no visual with the memory. So I told her that, and that was enough. She just needed to know the feelings, the thoughts, whatever was going on in my mind, the memories of going on in my mind. Tell me what you're seeing and feeling and hearing, right? That's what she wanted to know. So I told her all of that stuff. And that helped to change. And so the next time I got hypnotized, I was able to see my past. I was able to go and see the visuals. But it took a minute. It took a minute for me to do it, because I was so nervous and so high-ridden with anxiety that I couldn't see things. Yet I have other clients who come in who are also riddled with anxiety, and yet no problem. I mean, that's also partly to do with my skills of getting people under hypnosis, whereas the person who hypnotized me for the first time was also a student. So she may not have been at her full potential yet. I'm sure she is now, but at that time she may not have been at her full potential, and maybe that's why I wasn't seeing anything. But most of my clients now that come in, even full anxiety, they see visions in their minds. They see the story being unplayed or unrolled out into their brain. They can see it all. And so that's the idea, is you want to reiterate what you're seeing in your mind. That's what it is, because you're being brought back to the original moments. And people always ask, okay, well, am I going to jump back to past lives or anything like that? Possibly. Anything can happen. You can jump forward to future lives, and you can jump backwards to past lives. Anything can happen under hypnosis. Now, is it going to happen the first time? Not likely, not unless we're going in looking for that. When I first, it was about my 5th time being hypnotized. By the 5th time, I had already dealt with all of this life's problems. So when I went under hypnosis, it instantly brought me to past lives. Now I physically know how many lives. Well, I know about a few of my lives, past lives that I've lived, what I lived, how I lived it. And I know that those issues are causing the issues for me today. It's the same issues. It's decisions that were made back then that I'm not letting go of, and that's why I'm here today. So a lot of hypnosis is about letting go. You have to let go of your past. And I don't just mean the past of this lifetime. I mean all of the past lifetimes. Eventually you're going to have to let go of all of them. The idea is so that you can move forward, right? That's hypnosis in a nutshell, you guys. It's very safe. You feel very relaxed. You're always in control. Like you're feeling that deep relaxation, that deep focus, that deep sense of awareness. It's all in there. You become incredibly suggestible and you go into a trance-like state. And it's not that deep. It can be deep. It can be deep. You can feel it. I can feel myself floating now. When I'm under hypnosis, I feel my whole body just floating, and some people feel that instantly. Other people don't. It just depends on how much you are willing to lean into the hypnosis, relax your mind and body and let go. That's going to be indicative of what's happening for you. So then you're going to get time distortion as well. And I laugh when I say this because people are like, I don't know if I could sit there for 3 hours. I'm like, dude, man, you're not even going to realize. You're going to feel like it's been 20 minutes. And I can say that honestly and earnestly because I worked with a kid. And guys, you guys know kids. Hard to get them to sit still, isn't it? And she was 12 years old at the time. We did her hypnosis session. It was 3 hours and 15 minutes, her hypnosis session. She had a lot of stuff she had to get through. But at the very end, when I took her out of it, she goes, that wasn't 3 hours. It felt like 20 minutes. What are you talking? Like it went by really fast. It felt like 20 minutes. Yeah. Even when I'm doing the hypnosis for you, I don't feel like it's 3 hours. Unless I look at the clock, I'll know. But I don't feel it because we're just going through the motions and hours will pass because you lose time. You don't realize how much time is actually passing because you're in your own little reality. And then you start to visualize, like we were talking about. You're going to start to see visualizations in your mind. So allow them to just come up and start talking about what you see. That's the whole point, is for you to tell us what you're seeing and feeling and hearing so that we can help you decipher what it means. Because of course, I don't know. I know for hypnotherapy, they ask you one question, they go to the problem, they think that's the whole problem, and then they fix you. No, that's why a lot of people don't get fixed from just going to hypnotherapy. What we do with rapid transformational therapy is much different. Of course, again, we're going deep into your brain. We're figuring it out for you. So when we ask a question, we might ask that question worded differently 3 to 5 times to get to your brain. Now, within that question, every 3 to 5 times, there's going to be 3 to 5 more questions behind that question that we have to ask your brain to get to the root cause of that answer. But that's why we actually find the root cause, because what happens with hypnosis, with your brain, is that the first question you ask, let's say we're going to ask, why am I overthinking all the time in my life? The first answer that's going to come up is the lie. It's the cover story. It's the less than truthful story that's going to, maybe it'll look like that's the problem. It'll look like that's the root cause because it could be pretty traumatic, but that's not the real root cause. That's the hidden story. That's just the fluffiness. That's the Band-Aid that it's bringing up. That first story, that's the Band-Aid. That's the one that hurt you the least, but it hurt you a little. It might have changed you a little. So it'll go to that in hopes that if I bite onto that, if I take that shiny thing, I won't go digging for the truth, and therefore I can't change the habit. That's what your brain's doing. It's trying to protect you. Remember, it's trying to protect you. So that's why hypnotherapists often they're not incredibly successful. They can be incredibly successful depending on your therapist, of course, but they generally only go in and ask a question once, try to get to that answer, and then move to another question and get to another answer, another time, and another spot in your timeline and all of this stuff. Okay? That's not what we do here. As we're going deep into your brain and figuring out what's actually going on with you so that we can transform you in that very session. And that's when you get that emotional release, because you've come to the aha moment. You figured out what was wrong. You figured out why it was wrong. You figured out what belief you placed on yourself, and then you learn how to change it right there, and then you change it. That's what you do. And anything, you're going to those repressed memories, those repressed emotions that you don't even know that you know, right? And then we're releasing those, all that toxicity, all of that stuff. It's being released during the session. And so that gives you that controlled awareness, right? Because more importantly, you're not in a state of mindless obedience or unconsciousness. That's not what hypnosis is. And I know that's what a lot of you guys think that's what it is. You actually maintain control over your actions. And you can choose to accept or reject any of the suggestions we give you. You can do that. In fact, under hypnosis, I've had a client where I used the wrong word. And under hypnosis, the client corrected the word so it sounded better for them. And I just switched the word out to what they needed to hear, and off we went running. Because you are in control. You are. You control your body. You can move every inch of your body. The only thing, when we're working with you, the only thing you're not going to have control over are your eyes, because we're going to lock those bad boys closed. So it's important to note that the experience of hypnosis can vary from person to person, again, you guys. And so it depends on a lot of different factors. Okay, again, I believe 100% it depends on your therapist. You have to make sure that you are with somebody who understands your trauma and who can help you through that relaxation and stress reduction, who can help you through everything, who can explain everything, and who you feel comfortable with. That's incredibly important. Now, why would you want to use a rapid transformational therapist over a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist? Well, this is very important, so pay attention, okay? We are incredibly different than hypnosis and hypnotists. Hypnotists, again, spend 15 minutes in your brain and they make a change, and then off you go running, and then, 3 to 5 days later, you're back in the same old habits. Often, unless you didn't have a root cause. If you didn't have a root cause, then you've changed it. It's good. You're good to go. But if you do have a root cause, that's where we do the resolution of it. Rapid transformational therapy actually goes in and uncovers and addresses that root cause of your mental challenges. It's helping you to address the underlying issues of those traumas, and it's helping you to contribute to your healing, right? And your healing begins after that first session. So you're going to experience long-lasting relief and healing because we changed the root cause. Hypnotherapy doesn't do that unless you have someone who's exceptionally special. But I've been to a couple of hypnotherapists. They've never done that. Not even close. Not even close. But they can do significant changes for you if you want. A hypnotherapist can work. We do suggest you see a rapid transformational therapist if you want the best, because we are the best of the best. We have the most tools, and we are literally therapy on steroids and hypnosis on steroids. So if you want to go to the best, you find someone who's a rapid transformational therapist, because that means you're seeing a specialist. If you go to a hypnotherapist or a hypnotist, a stage hypnotist, you are not seeing the best. You are seeing a general practitioner. And if that's all you need, great, they'll work. But oftentimes, the ones who come see me, they need a lot more than a general practitioner. The other reason why you want to come to RTT therapists is that we're efficient. So what we're doing, it's a relatively short treatment duration compared to other therapy approaches. Again, we do a 3-hour session at the top, and then it is literally it. You come back in after that. That's your only hypnosis session. You come back in the next week just to help push you forward from that hypnosis session so you don't go backwards. And so for the next 3 weeks, that's what you're doing. You're moving yourself forward from that hypnosis session. The difference between that and a hypnotherapist or a stage, what they're going to do for you is they're going to take weeks and months just to get to the root cause, to transform it, to do all of that stuff. And they're not going to talk to you about where you're going to in your future. They're going to always be looking backwards. It's always about the past. We don't do that here. It's not about your past, because we're trying to move you forward. So this is about what's over there. We're going forward, right? And so you're going to see significant improvements after just one session. Literally, I had one person who had gone to 5 different therapists. She's out of England, this lady, out of the UK. She had gone to 5 different therapists in her lifetime. None of them worked. And so what happened was she came to see me. By the time she came to see me, I'm choking on water here, guys. By the time she came to see me, this client was so stuck. She was in her home. She'd been stuck in her home for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, something like that. I can't remember exactly because my story resonates her story, but she had been stuck in her house for that long. She had seen 4 to 5 therapists already. They just kept making her worse and worse. And it's not that the therapist didn't help her, because at some point I'm sure they did help her. But when you don't get to the root cause of the issue, what happens is the person who's suffering, their brain automatically thinks they're broken forever. They can't get fixed, and they just get worse. And then they start rolling in that story of I suck. You know that story, the I'm a victim, I suck story? I'm sure we all lived it at one point. That's what happens with your brain. It starts to love that story and it runs with it. So anyways, this client, she came to me for her session. She couldn't figure out why. She had been crying all the time. She'd been anxious her whole life. She had great fear of everything around her. She couldn't figure it out why. And she always felt like she was in that state of fear and you know, fight or flight, right? She felt like that forever, her whole life, and nobody can figure out what was wrong with her. She was with me for one session. One. We finished her session. In that session, we found out the reason why she felt that way was because when she was a child, she'd run into the street and she tried to retrieve a toy that went into the street. Nearly got hit by a car. Her panic, her parents' disappointment and fear and panic, all of that created the storm that stayed in her body, because after the event, her parents coddled her. They didn't address her fears. They didn't address her panic. So this little girl, and they changed their behaviors, by the way. They became more protective, more fearful, more everything. So they fed those feelings in her as well. And so for the rest of her life, she stayed in that fight or flight. She stayed with that fear, that anxiety. It stuck in her, and that's why it was there. Once we helped her to understand that, once we helped her to see that, you know, you're safe now, you're okay, you're doing good, she moved forward. And I got a letter from her 8 weeks after our session who said, "Thank you very much. I'm now living my best life in Spain." A woman who couldn't leave her house for over 3 years, 8 weeks later, moved to Spain. Yes, that's how powerful this hypnosis is. Hypnotherapists can't do that. A hypnotherapist can't do what I just did. Rapid transformational therapists can. So find yourself a rapid transformational therapist, because that's who's going to do that kind of transformation that quickly. Nobody else on the planet can do that change that fast. Okay? And we do customized approaches. So RTT, rapid transformational therapy, is highly, highly personalized. It's to the individual. Nothing is the same. It's a unique experience for your needs. That's very important when you're trying to go in after anxiety, depression, anything in your mind. When you're working with your mind, it's important you're doing an individual approach. So when you see people going for a bunch of group therapies, probably won't work, guys. It might work for some of you, but it's scary to do group because it's not individual. So you're getting like a group thing. And if you have a lot of deep-seated traumas, if you've got a lot of issues, that's not going to be healthy for you to do. And it's actually probably going to send your mind into chaos. So I urge you, if you're coming from a past of trauma, do not do group sessions. Please go to a individual therapist for one-on-ones, because your brain is not ready for that group therapy. The group therapy is for people who just need a little brush off, need to figure little things out, who might have been spanked as a child and, you know, that scared them or whatever, something like that. It is not for somebody who has deep trauma. Do not go there. You will F yourself up. In fact, we have I saw a few clients now. There's, I think, 5 clients now that I've gotten from this one individual. I'm not going to say his name because that's just mean, but there is an individual going around Facebook who does group hypnosis. And in this one particular hypnosis, he had over 700 clients on the call for this hypnosis session. The clients that are now coming to see me that were there, many of them ended up in the hospital with suicidal thoughts. Many of them ended up really, really bad off after that session. They got triggered. And because he wasn't there to help them, because he didn't get to their root cause, because all he did is he unlocked the door and let the demons out. He didn't go talk to the demons. He didn't deal with the demons. He didn't make friends with anything. He didn't change anything. All he did is put sweet little words into their brains and hope that they picked it up. Well, guess what? The people who got traumatized in their lives went to his session and got re-traumatized, and 2 of which ended up going to mental health services at the hospital, and 3 more came rushing to my door to get help out of stress and all of these sorts of things. So be very, very careful about these group hypnosises that you go into, especially if you've got root causes, root issues. Don't do it. Go see a therapist on their own for a one-on-one instead. Because what we're doing is we're not only just empowering you during those sessions, we are giving you, we're reframing everything for you. We're doing all of this stuff. So it involves reframing those negative thought patterns and beliefs and into more positive and empowering ones. But if you don't do that, if you fail to do this cognitive shift, what's going to happen is you go into the chaos, just like those 5 people experienced, right? So that's why you want to make sure you do one-on-ones if you've got a lot of trauma going on, because otherwise that shift that you make in the session, whether it be a group session, a private session, whatever, that shift is going to be difficult for you to handle because this is very real. So for those of you guys who think hypnosis is fake, I beg to differ, guys. This is crazy real, especially rapid transformational therapy, some stage hypnosises. But rapid transformational therapy in itself is exceptionally real, is exceptionally transformative and powerful. And once you start, you can't stop. So once you start the changes that I create for you, you can't shut them off. They're there, they're starting. And that's how powerful it is. With a stage hypnotist, you can shut it off. Within 3 to 5 days, your brain will shut it off. Okay, because that stage hypnotist didn't get to the root cause. They also didn't do the audio at the end, so they're not reiterating the story in your brain, so your brain's not picking it up, because hypnosis is very much repeat too. That stage hypnotist wouldn't necessarily work, right? And anyway, okay guys, so what else are you going to gain from a rapid transformational therapist? If you go for it, you're not going to get an emotional release, because we all know that you're addressing those traumas, you're healing it. You know, you're addressing the anxiety, the depression, you heal it. So you get to release, and it becomes very cathartic, very cathartic. Most of my clients after our session feel like marshmallows, are very tired, right? Because it gets you that self-discovery. You get to discover your thought patterns. You get to gain a deeper understanding of yourself, why your past experiences are affecting you today. You get to shape your new mental health perspective, and you get to build a self-awareness that is critical in healing. You get the holistic approach through RTT. We don't give you medicines. In fact, we get you off the medicines. RTT is what got me off of 15 different doctor-given drugs. Now I'm down to 1 medication only, right? That's because RTT is the holistic approach. It's the version that helps your brain to address your mind-body connection. And by doing that, you become balanced and you don't need that stuff anymore. I literally had a client recently, just before they came in for their session, they're like, I have to get a hold of anxiety people, the anxiety, whatever, the place where they go. I don't even know what they're called, but it's in the States. It's a place where they go, and they specialize in anxiety, but they don't do hypnosis. They just help you to day by day deal with anxiety, to work through it. He wanted to call them and work and do all of this stuff with them because he had so much fear. And yet the next day after our session, anxiety is gone. It's going away, guys. This person seems very relaxed and very happy and moving forward. So I can't give you full results on that one yet because it just happened yesterday, but come back to me in 3 weeks and I'll tell you everything on how well they're doing. But this is a holistic approach. So this is to help you to devise deeper or different, healthier habits, to reduce the stress in your life, to reduce anxiety, depression. It's going to help you with your overall well-being. And in the long term, you get long-term results. And again, it's non-invasive, guys. So it doesn't involve any medications. You're very safe. It's making it very safe, and it's a natural alternative approach, and it complements all forms of treatment. So in fact, this type of therapy complements you working with your own therapist. I work with your therapist. So if you're coming to me and you've already go to therapy, then I will just need the number of that therapist, and so that I can talk to them about your plan, and we can make a plan together for you to move forward. And you could do the therapy version of this with them and the hypnosis version of it with me. And the combined, you will heal much faster.